The topic we are debating here today is whether or not violence is the answer. Violence is never the answer, as we should always resort to a peaceful and nonviolent means of handling situations to avoid causing physical pain or killing of others. As an example of this very quickly is the Aztecs were overthrown by the conquistadors. The conquistadors used violence to dominate the Aztec civilization while trying to make an attempt to convert the people to Christianity. Even though the Aztecs did not agree to becoming Christians and speaking to conquistadors, they had one thought of not using violence to instantly kill them. Firstly, even when violent measures may be justified, it is important that nonviolent measures are taken to promote safety and most efficiently accomplish the task at hand. MLK wanted a peaceful protest against the segregation for all races and to be equal, and did not want violence to come into play. Also, in the French Revolution, everyone thought out to be an enemy of the state were publicly executed by the guillotine. Violence could break apart countries such as France during the Revolution, when they had the state versus everyone else that separated them, and most likely led to public executions. Secondly, violence could affect our world and lead to an all-out war between countries. Like what happened in World War I from the time period of 1914 to 1919, which affected all of Europe. It was all-out violence through there. Noam Chomsky, the American linguist and philosopher, once said, "See, people with violence understand exactly one thing: violence." Another time this shows is in World War I. The peace treaty of Versailles was meant to split up the land of Europe equally amongst the Allied forces, and not lead to an all-out war, which would risk more lives of innocent civilians while taking away from the Central Powers. As a result of military actions in the time period of World War I, 944,757 civilians died. My opponent may argue that it's more effective to use violence and to use force, but that could lead to harming civilians and leading to more hungover actions and affect the civilization more than it would without it. Violence should never be the answer, as I just stated, because it not only has the effects of during, but also after. Thank you. I now stand ready for my cross-examination.
Alright, so Marie, you are going to have 2 minutes to cross-examine Cary, and that time starts now.
Around 1 out of 3 households own a gun or some type of weapon. Why do you think they want to own a weapon?
Maybe for self-protection.
Would you want to own a gun to protect yourself?
No.
What if someone broke into your house? You have nothing to protect yourself and you got hurt. After this accident, would you want to go out and buy something?
Possible.
Would you use it if you had to?
Yes.
According to the law, self-defense is a type of violence. Thank you. Moving on. If you were an animal in the book Animal Farm, would you want to keep living life in unhealthy living habits, or would you want to change something and make your life better?
Change something that would make my life better.
So you would have rebelled like the animals did to make your life better?
Yes.
So you think the animals in the book did the right thing?
No.
How many animals do you think would have lived a happy life if they had not rebelled against Mr. Jones?
Not many more than what happened.
So in the animals' case, was violence the best answer for them?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. Imagine yourself in a situation where someone was hurting you. Running away was not an option. All you could do was fight back or stand there. Which would you choose?
Fight back.
So basically what you're telling me is that violence is sometimes the answer if someone is trying to hurt you?
Perfect.
Exactly my point. Violence is the answer when it comes to keeping people safe.
So Marie, you're going to have, sorry, where is that? You're going to have 3 minutes for your opening statement, and that time will start now.
We have all grown up being taught that violence is not the answer, that it is bad. Use your words, don't be physical. But now that you look at it, you are wrong. When was the last time a country won a war or fought a battle with their words? The answer is never. You might be able to put someone down with harsh words, but in the bigger picture, using words is like fighting a lion with a needle. Violence is needed to keep you safe. You have to fight for what you want. Words can get you forgiveness, but it can't get you peace. Millions of soldiers fight for their nation's peace. My statement is that violence is not the answer. Negative. My first point is that violence is a form of self-defense is only a way of protecting yourself. George Orwell once said that every war when it comes, or before it comes, is represented not as a war, but as an act of self-defense against a homicidal maniac. The law states that self-defense is the right to prevent harm or violence from counteracting harm or violence. According to the NRA, gun ownership is at an all-time high, with 90 million U.S. households owning firearms. That's about 1 out of every 3 households. Every human wants to be able to protect their family against the dangers the world brings us. My second point is that wars and battles happen with the thought of a good outcome in mind. What I mean by this is, in World War I, the Battle of Somme impacted the number of German soldiers so much that historians think it would have been one of the reasons Germany lost in the end. Also, in the book Animal Farm by George Orwell, the animals came together and made a proposition to take over the farm. The plan was to fight back and put an end to the hunger and cruelty that Mr. Jones put the animals through. You might have posed that all these battles and wars led to nothing but death, although it didn't. For example, at the end of World War I, it led to the independence of Poland, Finland, and many others. And like I said earlier, after the animals rebelled in Animal Farm, they weren't tortured, starved, and scared of being worked to death. The animals just wanted to be free from the unhealthy living conditions. Conquest, wars, and battles, self-defense, the countless examples from history show that violence doesn't have to be bad or fear. That violence can and does bring progress in one way or another. If it is to protect yourself or to protect your country from harm. Policemen always turn to force when a situation goes sideways. Violence can be the answer. Thank you. I now stand ready for cross-examination.
Appears to me I have 2 minutes to copy the memory, and that time will start now.
Do you agree that harming innocent civilians is wrong?
If it is not... Can you repeat the question?
Do you agree that harming innocent civilians is wrong?
No.
Why would you harm innocent civilians?
If only if wait, sorry, can you repeat it again?
Why would you harm innocent civilians?
I would not harm innocent civilians.
Okay. Do you believe that war is wrong?
No, because when people start wars, they believe in something.
Okay. Would you want to be in a war?
Oh, yes, because I would be fighting for my nation.
Okay. So you were saying that your nation was not strong enough to agree to peaceful terms and they have to come into war.
Yes, because they think that war has a good outcome in mind.
Okay. Moving on. Do you agree that there was a planned discussion between the Aztecs and the conquistadors?
No.
You don't. Well, there was, and it was planned not to be a violent conversation between the two. It was planned to just meet each other and talk about the terms of Christianity. So you said no is not a. So you said it is okay to harm innocent civilians earlier. When would it be okay to harm innocent civilians?
If they believe that it brings progress in some way for the bigger people.
So taking away from your population is better for the people on top?
No, only if it's better for the good of the nation.
Time. You both have 1 minute to prep for your closing statements. You're welcome to use the table behind you. You also have pencils there. So you will let minute start now. closing statement. Harrison, we'll start with you, and then Marie will close with yours. You each have 1 minute for your closing statement. So, Harrison, your 1 minute begins.
As I've stated before, there's many times where where people have chosen to use violence, but ended up not being successful. We should always never resort to violence, meaning that it could never, because the effects could last on for many years. And violence should not be used because of force, and it should not be used due to force and how successful it may be, but violence should be used if it is necessary for the cause and people of the nation that needed it, and for protection or anything like that.
That was right on time. So, Marie, you have 1 minute, and that time starts now.
The act of violence isn't about death, but rather the passion of fighting for what you want and believe in. In World War I, the Allied side wanted to get rid of Germany's army because they saw it as a threat to living as a normal country. They decided to take action so it could benefit themselves. Along the way, they would do anything they had to if it meant they were protecting or helping their country. Another point is self-defense. Protecting your body is the most important, and if you have to use violence to do it, so be it. You said earlier that the French Revolution was bad, but the people wanted to overthrow their government so they could live a better life. Every 9 seconds, someone is abused. Don't you think they should have the right to protect themselves? Thank you, that is all.
All right, thank you guys very much.